Y'all, we live in difficult times. There's war, political unrest, the pandemic, poverty, families being torn, communities ripped by gun violence and people dying every day. Police, injustice, it's all bringing so much pain. But y'all, we can look inside our minds and we can understand who we are, become better, and do this thing like we've never done it before. But it all starts with our mental health, and I know we can do it. I believe in you because I believe in me, and I believe in us. Welcome to another episode of Therapy is Life, where thinking, feeling, and experiencing well-being is what we do. Wow. So again, I got my boys here, and we are already in show mode, rocking and rolling. Reese, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing great.
Mo G.
And I'm here with y'all guys, man. You know, making history. I'm with it.
Yeah, remember I just couldn't get that name right.
Maul, yeah. I forgot how you pronounce it, man.
G Maul.
Maul G. Yeah. 2 A's. M-A-A-L-G.
Okay, all right. What you say? What would you say? Go ahead.
Dud up, whoa. We out here.
Yeah.
BK Watts in the building.
What's poppin', man?
Yeah.
We out here.
Pete Watts in the building. So yeah, has it been hot where y'all at, man?
No, it was, man. It was like freezing yesterday, bro.
It
was
When
bad.
I walked out the house, it was cold. When I walked out the house this morning,
Temperature don't know what it want to do.
It
Bro,
was
this
probably like
this ain't.
56 when I was in
This
December
is
earlier
super
this
weird
morning.
summer.
It was cold. I walked outside.
No, yesterday was rough. I'm like, yo, I had on the full long sleeve. You see me in it. We both got hoodies on today, okay? Like
They gonna think it's fall right now.
they don't know. They don't know what season it is in
Middle of the
Cleveland.
summer.
So listen, that's your warning. If you ever plan on coming to Cleveland, bring all kind of clothes. It don't matter what time of year it
It is an adventure in itself. But
But
anyway.
listen, it ain't been my birthday December 9th. There has not been snow on my birthday in 10 years. Okay, so do with that information what you will.
So look, second note, guys. I know last week or just a few days ago, before we get into any like serious discussion, what did y'all think of Bronny James being drafted into the NBA in the second round?
Bro, that's hard. That's so raw for the legacy. It's like, yeah, see. Y'all ain't nobody else did that. That's crazy. He might go out there and be trash. It don't matter.
No, I don't even think he's gonna be trash.
I don't think he is either. I'm just saying, but he at this point it's like the history is made.
Yeah, it don't even matter.
The history is made.
The history goes.
You know what I'm saying?
The history. Now, let me ask you this: do you think that he gonna get like people gonna come after him, like really challenge him and push him? Which he should expect that.
Of course.
Yeah, because who he is and how he got there, the whole process. Of
course. That's how everybody did Jordan's son, and we ain't.
I will say
we
that
ain't get nowhere with it.
to be honest, I watched it. I watched the draft when they called his name. It gave me chills. So I feel like that was a dope and amazing moment for him to be drafted, obviously, but for LeBron to get that is just unique. Yeah. And I think it's unique for any father son duo to work together in any capacity.
Right.
So for Bronny, who could have did anything in the world, he could have been anything he wanted to be, but to do that with his father, I think it was a dope thing. So
listen, I ain't gonna lie, I'm low key already like, man, they gotta get a ring together. That'd be so raw.
now that'd
be so raw.
What a story, right?
That'd be crazy.
Storybook ending.
But like if it happened, you already know the world gonna be like, it was rigged. Illuminati. Right? You know what I'm saying? But so don't even care. Just to see it happen, especially in our lifetime, bro. Like this ain't when I can't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, of course you never really could know, but like when is this gonna happen again, bro? It's the first time it ever happened. First time means it'll be a second time more than likely, but like what are the odds that we see it?
Right.
Yeah, you know what? One of the crazy things how it hit me, it made me realize if Bronny's like he's 19, 20 years old, maybe.
Yeah, 19. I don't think he's 20 yet, is he?
I don't think so.
Like okay, and then so LeBron, he's been playing in the NBA going to 21 years now.
Yes.
and I've watched LeBron's whole career, that means I am getting old.
Oh, facts
I am
to that,
getting
too.
old. Like, I watched LeBron's whole career.
I watched LeBron in high school,
Like-
legit. Like sophomore year, first time I seen LeBron. And I was a professional barber at the time, so that shows you how long I've been cutting. But, you know, to see him from that point to this point and then seeing his seeds go into the thing, like, I think it's the power of manifestation because Brian spoke that 2-3 years ago that this is what he wanted to happen. And it happened. You know what I mean? Like, a lot had to line up even past the point where his son had the heart condition. Man, you know.
Yeah, no, that made me feel like, damn, it might not happen.
I didn't think it was going to happen at that point, man. But then he still propelled past that, man. And so he spoke it into existence, man.
That's amazing. And, you know, and granted, you know, we'll see what he does now and everything. We'll see what he does.
I hope they come to Cleveland.
Yeah. No,
Cleveland.
I ain't gonna lie.
Crump.
I would hate to be Bronny, bro. Like, that's awful. Really anybody who is like amazing, like top tier at anything in the world, and then you come up as a child and do the same thing, you have no way to avoid being compared. And he could have a phenomenal career. Yeah. And it's not gonna come close to his father's, and it's always gonna be a thing that is over his head. I would hate that, bro. Yeah. I would hate that so much. Like, that's why, and it's crazy. It's like I feel like I would want to avoid doing something that my parents do, but like, fortunately, my mother, even though she's also an artist, that's not like something that I feel like I'll be compared with. You know what I'm saying? But like, again, had she been like the craziest in the galaxy, is like I said, it's just no way for you to have your own legacy with it because it's always going to be coupled in with your parental legacy by comparison. It's like,
you know, one of the things that might help Bronny with that if he really exceeds as an NBA player is that he is a different body style than LeBron. So, you know, he is 6'1", 6'2" guy. So he's gonna have to perform as a great small guard, which is, you know, his father, you know, obviously you can compare him assist wise and the name and some of the looks and the features, but he's a different, he have to be a different type
of player.
And that's why, not to really switch subjects, but to be on subject, that's why I really don't like it when people compare LeBron and Michael Jordan, because they're so different in the way they play. Like, stop,
right?
Stop. But
Guard, small forward, it's just totally different positions altogether.
Because LeBron and Jordan, they move differently. We look at numbers, but do you see how Jordan scored? Did you see how LeBron scored?
I think they comparing impact though, what their impact and influence was to the game and the culture and that.
That's probably part of it too, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are definitely factors that you got to just consider. But it is always going to be a different thing where it's like, we both play the same game, but we play different positions. We different in every other area except for the fact that we're just on the same court. But it's definitely, it got to be an impact conversation.
Yeah, impact conversation. But anyway, guys, today I want us to talk about, you know, things that men do to avoid feelings. Because generally men struggle with sadness, grief, shame, guilt, fear, of course, loneliness and failure. These are emotions that we oftentimes struggle with. I think we said earlier, grief is oftentimes one of the first real serious emotions we actually deal with and try to process, right? Somebody, we lose early in life, we lose a family member or somebody we really close to, and we have to process our feelings. Oftentimes, though, we live in a culture and environment where we actually don't deal with our feelings. We avoid them. And so what we want to discuss today is some of the ways, y'all think about it, examine self, we might avoid dealing with feelings. And the first word I'll use is denying. Have any of y'all ever denied something that you was feeling, something you had a negative emotion about, pushed it out, avoided it?
Yeah, definitely haven't denied, but I think that it didn't take me very long to realize that wasn't the route to take. To just go ahead and experience it and be able to speak to it, but then also to know that once I done expressed it, now I can go off and deal with it like how I need to. So like a crazy example is like one of my best friends, right? Like actually got engaged to one of my exes. Now they didn't end up making it to the altar, but at that time though, it felt so crazy to me that like this my dog, and like even though she and I didn't work out for various reasons, it was never like we ain't eye to eye on things. It was just timing was always bad. But by the time it came to a point where like we could have really tried, it was like we not in that space. But for then them two to have met and connected so hard, and then came to me with the approach like, this potentially could be a thing, and we want to pursue this. It was so like I didn't know how to handle that, but I took it. I kept it up front. Like, listen, because I love both of y'all, I will support it and stand behind it. But initially, keep it out my face. I can't quite deal with it yet. I can't process it. So I had to remove myself from the situation for a while before I was eventually able to come to terms with it. And then, and not do nothing or be negative or knock their progression into the relationship. And eventually it came to the point where, not long after, like we able to be at the, the friends miss kick-its and the cookouts and the functions, what I'm saying? Like my friends is my family for real. So like really everybody be able to come together and not be weird and not be awkward. We not have problems. And I could really like when they got engaged, it was like genuine like happiness for them, so on and so forth. But that was a thing though.
It was a thing, yeah. Gotcha. Anybody else wanted to talk about that?
I feel like, it's something that most people have experienced in some. I can't pinpoint an exact moment, but I know I've challenged with denial from time to time, and it's been something that I've had to work through. I'm trying to jog a actual event right now.
I'll tell you about, I feel like so often with a lot of guys, especially in our younger years, what I'm saying? It's like you mess with the chick and then somebody else go along and mess with like, hey man, you cool if they be like, man, it's cool. I ain't worried about her.
Like that, though. That's why I wasn't gonna piggyback on that exact. I've experienced that though.
But like I feel like I had probably had one of the most extreme circumstances of that scenario.
Oh yeah, that's an extreme. That's an extreme.
That's definitely
extreme. But like what I'm saying, like but very often though when that type of situation occurred, dude is like, man, no, I ain't thinking about her, and they be devastated. Like, what I'm saying?
I think another thing with denial is we might have like certain like problems or issues, and we might deny them. Medical issues, things might be going on with us, and we'll just deny them or we rationalize them as something else, so we won't go get checked out and make sure that we all okay and good. And and oftentimes bruhs don't go to the hospital until they like really sick.
Yeah.
We bleed and all this stuff and all kind of pain, and it's like nothing the doctors can do.
Okay,
because we denying it the whole way. We trying to find some other rationale for it or whatever, and everything, versus in embracing that this is a problem and an issue.
So because you said that, I can chime in briefly and say, as I'm 42 now, and so this is a PSA to all men who are entering into their 40s. You got to get yourself checked out on different aspects of your health.
What he talking about.
Well, I'll just be transparent. Like your prostate is a real thing. Prostate exams are a real thing. Yeah. And, there's signs that lead up to when you feel like something might be wrong with your prostate. Do the research on what those signs might be. And, there were certain symptoms that I was starting to feel, in my 40s of, is this prostate type stuff going on with me? Certain little feelings that I wasn't feeling, for the duration of my adulthood. And so it's, when you say denial, that was something that I took and buried it away for a minute. And then, my wife being a nurse, I had to just finally tell her some of the things that I was feeling. And obviously, she's going to take it, well, I'm calling the doctor tomorrow and we're going to set up an appointment and you're going to get checked out, this, that, and the third. And so, that became like the biggest anxiety for me, because, nobody wants that bad news. Nobody wants to hear that they got cancer. They don't want to hear that something's wrong with, them in those realms at all. And most men, black men, don't want to get those prostate exams. Fast forward, I did what I had to do, got my exam, got everything checked out, and everything came out cool. No issues, you know what I'm saying? Good report of health and everything. But I thought about how long I buried that feeling, and then how many other men bury those feelings and don't, address what's going on with them. And then boom, it leads to stage 4, whatever cancer might be there, because they just never wanted to present itself. So, I'm glad you brought that up, because it made me think about something that I'm dealing with or had to deal with in my 40-year-old middle-aged self.
Good. That's really good. I appreciate that. Moving on. What about running? Running is avoid, not physically running, but running away from problems. That's.
I can speak on that one. Running, avoidance.
Yeah.
I remember when back in 2015 when my father came home, and I remember my mom was like, "You got to talk to him. You got to go see him. I do that." Man, I did everything. I'm talking about, I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to see him because I didn't know how I was going to react, or what I was going to say, or what I was going to do, or what he was going to say, or whatever the case was. So I definitely can remember, running from that situation for time. I mean, even when we did speak and we had dialogue, I still was really running from the situation, because I was scared of me maybe asking him certain questions, and then him telling me certain stuff. I didn't know what that pain was gonna look like. I didn't know what that emotion was gonna look like. I didn't know how that was gonna affect me every day or affect me from here on out. So I remember, avoiding that situation to all the way to the fullest, until I just was like, look, it's only so much running you can do. At some point you gotta kind of go and face whatever it is that you're trying to avoid when the time is right, though. And I think I waited to the right time. I don't think there's really a perfect time, but just the right time for that. So I could definitely speak on running from a situation or avoiding that conversation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I could think about, just running from tough conversations in general, with either it being my wife, parents, even my children sometimes, coworkers. Those tough conversations, because in my head I play it over where if it don't go like how I'm planning for it to go, it can easily go left. We can turn into an argument. We can turn into, stopping talking together altogether because of the confrontation that I'm playing in my head that's going to happen. And so a lot of times that's, I guess we would say, with your anxiety kicking in on what that conversation might turn into. So in turn, I'm just running or avoiding that conversation. Now, one thing that helped me was my brother Kev, man. He put me onto this book called Crucial Conversation. And
know that one.
I'm sure you do. And in that book, it just gives a lot of tips on how to have healthy conversations that are high emotional, that are, potential for, confrontation or whatnot. And it just gave me a lot of tips on, how to even approach those type of conversations. So now I'm not as hesitant to have those type of conversations, just because I have a few better tools on how to even approach it, or how to even be the listener that I need to be in those type of conversations, so that it can be healthy and not toxic.
That's good.
I would even piggyback really, really brief off what you said about having a tough conversation with your parents and avoiding that. I remember the first time I experienced what was anxiety and depression, but I didn't know what it was at the time. And I remember not wanting to have that conversation with my mom because I didn't know what she was gonna do. My mom, she loved me so much. She's so emotional. I ain't know if she was gonna fall out. I ain't know if she was gonna start crying, praying, go get the oil. I ain't know what it was. So
Right.
I just was avoiding it, and I didn't want my family and them to be scared either, though. Because when you tell your loved ones, all right, y'all, I'm depressed. Some people, everybody react different. So I was just scared, and I didn't want them to be like, oh, we calling Maurice's phone, he ain't answering. React. Is he okay? Like, and then that starts to create anxiety even for them.
Yeah.
So I could just, I mean, you said parents, so I thought about that situation too. How long I avoided that really for years until I honestly was like, all right, this is something I got to tell y'all about, you know, just to let y'all know what's going on.
Gotcha. What about humor? How do we use humor as a way to avoid? You know, I know we good at humor, right? We good at humor. And in fact, one would argue that if you look at some of our best comedians ever, if you look at their lives, man, they've been through some stuff.
Hey,
man, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, jokes just be there, bro. Like, and I think a part of it is
Spoken about a part-time comedian.
you feel me? Like the rapper in me is like, in any conversation, I can hear a double meaning in something, or I hear, somebody say one thing one way and I heard it a completely different way. I know what they meant, but I heard something else. So there's always that joke there. There's always that something comical or a way to spin it. So very often when things are serious, like, and I know that also humor very often breaks tension in very intense moments. And to have things not just be as aggressive and as anxiety inducing and, things of the sort, is like, it's okay. I feel like it's okay sometimes to just, throw that joke out there just in that moment. And it's definitely a thing that requires some couth. It's a time and a place, and your placement and your timing are very important. But very often, though, the way to avoid certain things is certainly with a joke, in a way to kind of try to shrug stuff off or turn the attention off yourself, with having people feeling like something is super, super serious for you, where it's like, hey, man, I can laugh it off and walk away. And again, I'm going to process it my way, my time. But, I could throw this joke out here and hopefully everybody is kind of eased and it's like, all right, it's cool, even when it ain't.
Right.
Yeah. Humor is definitely like that instant mood shifter. It can turn a tense moment into, a lighter moment. And, it's weird because I felt like, to your point, you were saying, how do people use humor in avoiding type situations, right? Like, how do they use humor to, like, shift from being on a serious topic? But it was weird because for me, and I felt like it kind of kicked in like heavy, like after the pandemic time frame is when I can feel like it got bad for me, because I felt like, man, I almost forgot how to become humorous, how to be, how to laugh, man. Like I was so serious, everything was so like life or death feeling. I kind of lost the art of how to even become humorous, man. And I felt like it was bad for not only me, but the people around me who needed me to be humorous in certain moments. You know what I'm saying? To kind of lighten the load. And so my mom, thank God for her, man, she's always a silly person, to her good heart of her. Like, she knows how to laugh often and how to keep things light. My father's a funny dude, too, so he knows how to, but he's more the serious tone person. But my mom had to kind of put me back on to, like, just watching some comedy stuff, like just watching like some comedy sketches or something like that, just to, bring humor back into my life. You know what I'm saying? So that was something that I actually needed to get a dose of again, man, just to stop being so daggum serious all the time.
And I want to emphasize the importance of humor. It's a very important part of the human experience. So actually it's good emotional intelligence sometimes to know how to use humor to bring issues down to a lower level. But I guess when we use it way too much and we can never get serious and never have that dialogue, or we find ourselves having a difficulty doing that, then that's when it could become a problem. Because now we really need to talk about some stuff, but you was going to joke and kid and laugh about it when there's a time and place for everything. And so knowing when to, and make that little crack or whatever to bring the thing down and, okay, let's talk about it. But you still got a nappy head right now. But
Oh man, that's crazy that you experienced that because like during the pandemic, I feel like jokes
go
was at
ahead.
an all-time high.
Yeah.
Like bro. Like not even from me. I'm just like, cause it's like, bro, like the world don't take nothing serious nowadays. So like if you was on social media, bro, like it wasn't the pandemic, it was the Pangea, it was the parallelogram, it was the panorama, it was the you know what I'm saying? It was all of those things. It was the panhandle, and that was all funny to me. It was, you know what I'm saying, who can get it and who can't. And as serious as it was, we was all in the house. Like we was stuck in the house low key. So you seeing people post jokes and it's like, is it real? Is it not real? You seeing all these people supposedly die, but like how many of us knew somebody that actually died from it? And it was like, so it was like the questions and the way that everybody was avoiding how serious the situation was by throwing jokes out there.
Hey, you know what?
That's the thing, though. Like he was saying, like the avoiding piece, like when you do it too much, I felt like social media was like overkill with the comedy. Like, I felt like they didn't take it serious enough.
Right,
I'm like, no, we really going through a world pandemic right now, and y'all clowning right now. Like, I'm not about to find this funny. I'm about to try to find out what's really going on. Hey. But to your point, like, it was there, and I had to learn how to reappreciate even that, the comedy that was there.
And you know what, though? A voice I would have loved to hear during the pandemic, Bernie Mac, man. I would have loved it. Like
Bernie. For sure.
Yeah, I would have loved to hear that. Hey,
I would have loved to hear his voice during so many things, bro. Like Donald Trump as president.
Oh my God,
take, bro.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on,
Hey, I would have loved to hear his take on the bleach. Remember when he did the thing with the bleach?
Oh yeah, we're gonna find a way if we can inject it, perhaps. Like what? What? You serious?
Come on.
You inject it first, bro. Let us know how it go.
I like that impersonation, man.
No, that
I do what I can.
That was on point.
That was on
Even
do what I
with the
can.
recent debate that they just had.
Well, that's comedy.
Me,
That was
my
comedy.
sister, and my mom, we got a group message. So my sister, she like, we joking about it, like, we laughing about it. Then my sister called me. She said, "Man, I ain't gonna lie, we was laughing. This is not a joke."
Right.
Everybody on Twitter,
We
they
gonna
got
get
memes
blew
and
up.
stuff, but we like, all right, everybody take a step back. This actually ain't nothing to be laughing about, but still trying to find humor in it.
Yeah, still trying to find humor in it, trying to find so yeah, we do that a whole lot. I think us black folk, man, we that's one of our recipes, like chitlins, like hip hop. We take our pain, suffering, we find ways to create and make things happen.
No doubt,
our soul food, we make it happen, man. But look, let's move. What about deflecting?
I feel like that's so close to avoiding.
But is deflecting like putting it back on
Yeah, put it back someplace else off it, pushing it off on someplace else. Yep. Somebody might call it displacement. So it's over here, but now I'm putting it over there. So I could be mad about one thing, but I'm actually expressing frustration with something else, versus more so than the thing that I really got a problem with. Like, you know what, man, you mad at your girl, but you talking about work and like, your work has got me going and busy and all this kind of stuff.
From the real issue.
No, that's definitely one. That's definitely one for sure. And sometimes, man, I just can't help it. It'd be like, it was like last week, prime example. I'm like, hey, look, I got X,
You know you
Y,
don't have
and
immunity
Z
here,
going
right?
on. I know, right? You feel me? I'm gonna get myself murdered. But it's like, look, I got X, Y, and Z going on. And she like, well, if you just do this like this, and I was like, hey man, listen. Like she was no BS. She was trying to be positive for sure. But it was like, hey, listen. Sometimes I don't want to hear the positive right now, like because of X, Y, and Z. I'm just expressing that at the moment, X, Y, and Z got me hot, and I'm bothered by what's going on with this. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so it frustrated me. Like typically, I would have continued on with how I felt about X, Y, and Z, but it was just in that one moment, that instance, like her with the ultra positive, like standing on my neck with it. I actually ended up not deflecting and going right back at her with it, and that's kind of one of the moments I felt bad about. Like I wish I deflected and just stuck to my problems with X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt bad because I know she was trying to help, but it'd be like, man, sometimes, dude, like just let me feel how I'm feeling right now. You know what I'm saying? Before you be like, but you know what? It's all gonna be peaches. And it's not. It ain't peaches. Okay? It ain't peaches and cream. It ain't peaches and herb. Okay? It ain't no peaches. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Let's isolation. I mean, look, isolation. And let's talk about isolation a little bit. When I think of isolation, I think of like we talk about gaming, but sometimes we overgame, and some people just they get into their little corners and they just stay in their game, stay in their own little space, and don't really connect or interact with the world. And so isolation to some degree can be healthy when we do it in spurts where we just need some time to ourselves. But when we start chronically doing it, unfortunately, it can become problematic. It can become it can lead to depression. But here's the crazy thing. When people act out of anger, we notice that really quickly. But we oftentimes disregard the person that's frequently isolating. We don't necessarily pay attention to it until something bad happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think, so for me, isolating, because my sister graduated high school when I was entering into my freshman year. So really in the house, it was just me and my mom. So I'm not the only child, but during those high school years, I felt like that way because my sister wasn't in the house. So isolating for me is just always been a part of my natural being. Yeah. I ain't never had to share with nobody. I ain't never had to, it was times where I'd be in my room, my mom in her room. It's just peaceful, but I feel like sometimes it could be a negative because I isolate myself too much to the point where people call me and I look at the phone and I just put it down.
Yeah.
And it could be, they might need something important. I don't know, but I just sometimes my mind just go there where I'm like, all right, I ain't being bothered with nobody for the next few days. And then I just pop back up, which, I guess in a way that could be healthy if I need just some time apart from everything. Mm-hmm. I can even isolate sometimes where I'll just temporarily deactivate my Instagram because I need to isolate myself from that at times. And that's more healthy. But I think if you do it a little bit too much, and I've been at fault with it too, at times where I'm just isolated a little bit too much, where I'm not talking to my friends, I'm not really talking to nobody, you kind of got to just bump into me to see me. That ain't always the best way because some of my friends could call me, yo, man, I need some advice on this, I might need some advice on that, and I'm not really there for them at that time because I'm just so isolated in my own little bubble that it's kind of I don't care about nobody else. So I think you got to find a gray area in between isolating a little bit too much and then just understanding all right, all my friends is going over, my people house and they having a bonfire, but mentally I need to isolate myself tonight and I'll see y'all another weekend. So I think you got to find a gray area in between the two because it could be bad.
Yeah.
It could be bad.
If you find yourself doing it for extreme amount of hours, it might be playing gaming, you might be on your phone, all these things, so isolating itself. And then we have the issue of all the magnetic fields and the blue light and all that stuff. And we know now, research is saying that stuff is not good for our mental health. We need to turn it off sometime before we even go to sleep because it affects our ability to sleep and stuff. I
don't game as much as I used to, but back in the day when I was gaming, I'd be on the game so much, I'd finally look up. It'd be dark outside. All the lights in the crib off. I'm like, man, what? But you in the Twilight Zone. So I understand that when you get too caught up into playing video games.
Yeah. Well, anybody else want to say something?
No, I agree totally what he was saying because, I technically am an only child, and I think it can be easy for me to get in that space of isolation. And then I had to also realize what that was doing to, relationships around me, friendships and stuff, because I got, group texts, a friend group where I might be the only one who might not even respond back for, 5 days. I done seen everything everybody said, but I just don't even feel like putting the mental energy into responding back. But then what hurts me is when I come around them, then I think they feel almost like a vibe I think I'm better than them because I didn't respond to them. But they just didn't understand it was my isolation spirit in me that because as a barber, as a mentor, being in public, dealing with people, when I'm off of that, it's kind of man, I got this time to myself. You know what I'm saying? This is my space that I can just be for me. And I think it can come off almost like an arrogant tone when certain people around you, your friends, your family, when they're trying to pour into you in that space, it's like I feel like I done gave the world all my energy, and I ain't got enough for the people around me who love me and who do care about me. So then in return, it comes off to them like, oh, he don't care about us neither. You know what I'm saying? So I think like what you said as far as finding that balance, you know, to still be present, but then also still finding your space. You just gotta find that balance point.
I would say, real briefly off both of the things, I'm terrible at the group message. And I always get, well, you on Instagram? Because I seen you just post something. Yeah, I know I just posted something. And I know you just called me. And I know you're on the group message. I don't feel like talking right now. But that's how it is that some people feel like you better than them. And then two, giving out everything, because I'm in a huge like networking world, just being in the sports world, that I've had women that I've lost in the past because by the time I would finally get to them, it was like, yo, I just want to just chill. I don't want to go on no date. I don't want to go out to eat. I don't want to go to the movies. I'm drained. I just was on the road for a week and a half, and I come back home, yeah, you miss me, and you want to go to dinner, and I'm just like, no. So I think that's the bad part. You got to find the balance in between the two, because I'm telling you, I've had women like, I can't do it. And I'm just drained. I'm like, yo, it ain't nothing against you. I just don't feel like going. But like, you a barber and stuff, so people who don't understand that you talk to people all day long, they not going to get that. They not going to get it. And to be honest with you, I've learned in life, they never going to get it.
They're not.
They're not going to get it.
They're not. And so, like, I don't. So, to a degree, right? Like, growing up, we didn't have it to where it was like everybody had their own space in their own room in the house. Like, at a point, we was in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was me and my 2 brothers sharing a bedroom. You know what I mean? So it wasn't no such thing as isolation. Where I'm gonna go? You know what I'm saying? like, it didn't exist. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There wasn't no privacy. You know what I'm saying? And then
Had to be social.
Yeah, I ain't got no damn choice. Was with somebody 4 years and 8 years younger than me at all times. So, you know, that was the thing. Then eventually we got to a point where we had a house. And then I had my own space for the first time. And it was like, oh, it's lit. But at that point, then it was like I wasn't isolated, because then it was always, my friends was always there. Because it's like, now I ain't got to share the space with them. Y'all come through. We in here. We kicking it. You know what I'm saying? I had the whole floor to myself, the basement. We had a pool table, couch, entertainment system. We had a little foosball, hockey table, sauna in the joint, and they just let me have it. So I lost my mind. Like, it was just, we out here. But eventually,
Lost your mind.
You feel me? But eventually, at some point, though, you know, like then to go into as an adult, to fast forward to become an adult, like, and getting into entertainment, whether I was the rapper, when I became the host, when I got back into art and started doing showcases, events, all this stuff, everything that I have done has always forced me to be around everybody at all times. So now, like where I'm at right now, when the pandemic started, was when isolation all of a sudden became a thing for me. Like that was what happened, because from 2015 starting to host to 2019, getting right up to that point, right before the pandemic, I hosted 600 plus events.
It's out here.
Feel free to do the math. I was outside every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whether I was hosting or promoting an event, or I'm somewhere doing my art, and that's another thing. Even beyond that, like I had no choice but to be nonstop social. Running a business that requires me to talk to people. Running a business that could put me right here sitting down talking. It never happens. So I find myself in that man cave. I might not be doing nothing, but to the house I say, hey, look, I'm going downstairs to go do some work, and I might just go sit for a couple hours and ignore the world, bro, because it's like it's a new thing for me. Like I'm just discovering isolating, and I'm trying to enjoy it while also finding a balance in it to not overdo it, because I also have caught myself overdoing it and feeling like I'm tunnel vision, out of sight, out of mind, the world a little too often sometimes, especially with what I got going on. But Like, you know, like what you got going too, bro. Like, we dealing with people nonstop, all day, every day, and you got to be able to have that break.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate side of it is for like our family, after you done gave all the juice that you got to still come home and have something for them. And sometimes you just ain't got it though.
Right. You know what? I gotta tell y'all. And speaking to that, it just makes me think myself. I spend a lot of time talking to people about different things. So one of the things I'll say about keep it brief and say about me and isolation, I do find myself taking time to myself and, you know, and just being in that space. But I have, when it comes to like TV and stuff, I like all kind of stuff. But since I've been a therapist, what I notice is I watch humorous stuff that don't get into like, or action stuff that don't get too serious, sometimes fantasy stuff. I really don't like to watch stuff that's gonna get like real deep off into like human stuff and behaviors and stuff like that. Like, you're not gonna see me watching Queen Sugar too long. like,
Gotcha.
like,
So you got the notepad out like,
or like it was when I first started trying to watch Shy, man. It was like, oh my god, man. I would just get like, yeah, me like I'm sitting there like, oh, I can't watch this. Like
Hurricane is that show?
Yeah, so it's like, but it's crazy because now there was a time I could have just floated through those shows like it was nothing. But now it's like, because of the stories I hear every day, it's like, okay, I just want to find that laughter, talking about the humor. I want to find that action, funny, fantasy thing that's away from human reality, and deal with things that, you know, that way, versus, or, you know, kicking out with some yoga. You know, sometimes I get downstairs, I go do some yoga, like 45 minutes or whatever, get that run in, whatever, just to be had that space, so I can have some energy for my family.
That's good.
No, that's real. That's real.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy how like work and what we do low key can ruin some of the things that we love, bro.
Yeah, it's
'Cause,
bound.
man, like doing this movie podcast and the reviews and all of that, it low key mess up everything. Like, I have to watch things more than once because the first time I catch myself analyzing, like, damn, the cinematographer was in his bag when he put together that shot right there, or and the director I don't really like how they did this and framed up this shot, and it's like, I don't want to do that. I want to just watch it.
That became work.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I used to love just going to the theater and just watching a movie. Now I really be breaking it down and analyzing it in my mind. And it's like, So like I said, if it's at least good, I'll watch something twice so I can just kind of get my thoughts out of my mind initially and then just be able to experience it and enjoy it. And I think that might apply to some other things too. Like, you kind of have to like double back on things and not, you know, not apply your work mind to things that could relate to what you do.
Hey, speaking of that, man, what do y'all think about, and I got to raise my hand up on this one. What do y'all think about the workaholic?
That's me. I'm sorry.
Me all day.
That's rough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny because I know you walk down the street and be like, his lineup crooked.
Yeah.
His fade trash. That blend ain't good.
And I mean, that's one of many hustles though, many tasks that I do. So it's like always having the as an entrepreneur, which we all in this room have entrepreneurship in us. I think it's like the toughest thing. Sometimes I'll be honest, I never take for granted the fact that I am an entrepreneur and I have the ability to kind of, you know, pave my own way when it comes to that. But then in another note, sometimes I envy the person who has the 9-to-5 where they can just shut it off at a certain time.
Yeah.
Because with that, you know, you have your scheduled week, you have your times, and then it's do your task and then go home and live your life. But as an entrepreneur, it's like even after it's done, you're still thinking about what needs to be done for the business or what I can do to improve the business or who I need to, you know, service the next day. All types of things is always constantly running in my head as an entrepreneur, where it's like I feel like I'm never truly off. And so, you know, and then also it's also another, it's kind of quirky like this because it's also a stress reliever for me to feel like I'm in work mode. I feel like, man, I'm being productive. I'm handling my business. It kind of fills my tank up a little bit to be in work mode. When I'm not in work mode, I feel like, man, it's somebody else doing more than me who's getting ahead of me in this race. You know what I'm saying? So
Trying to push.
that's how I be feeling, man, as a work, and you know, y'all can relate.
Yeah, no, for me, just being in the sports world, it's never off. Like it's all year round. It's always recruiting. It's always trying to find out, who's next up, who we going to watch. I mean, at this point, I'm looking at 10th graders trying to figure out if they got a real opportunity to make it. So it's like always like that. And then like during the season, with the NBA guys, like it could be an all day thing. I'm waking up early. I got to get my workout in, go back. He got shoot around. I might go to the facility during shoot around. Then we go back to his crib, the chef there, make sure the food on point. Then after that, most of the time he gonna go take a nap. I go back to the hotel. I don't got time to take a nap. I'm doing something else. Go back to his crib. Now we got to go to the arena early. Then I'm sitting in the back. He go out to shoot. I go back to the back. I'm talking to everybody. Then it's the game. Mind you, I done started my dad at 6 a.m. Then I'm at the game. I'm networking. He might have family in town. I'm making sure they straight. Then after the game, I'm in the back waiting for him to come out. Then we got to go to dinner. I don't get back till midnight, but I've been at it all day.
Yeah.
So, like you saying, like sometimes I wish I was able to, just go in, clock in at 9, get off at 5, and then that's just it. But, I mean, everything in life has its pros and cons. Yeah. So I say I love what I do.
Absolutely.
But because I like to be able to create my own hours, to be able to say, hey, I'm a little bit flexible. I can move some stuff around to be here with y'all today. And somebody who might have a set schedule, they can't maneuver and do certain things like that as well. But, being a workaholic and being locked in on your craft and wanting to be better and then wanting to do more, it definitely messes up relationships. It messes up friendships.
Facts.
I done missed birthdays. I done missed, my sister graduated with a master's. I couldn't go to the graduation because I was somewhere else. I done missed, they threw a surprise party for my grandpa one year. I was down somewhere else, couldn't get there. So you miss out on things, but that's a sacrifice if you really love what you do and you really want to do it at a high level. Yeah. That's the workaholic piece. Like, where is that balance out to say, no, I'm gonna work really hard, but like they throwing my Nana a surprise party. I don't care when that's going on. Somebody else got to take care of it. I got to be there. Right. So I got to try to find the gray area within that too.
It's like, you think that you would get that freedom out of that, but you realize that it's a lot of things that you just don't. I mean, like it's certain ways that we can maneuver around, but it's some things we just can't avoid. And especially when your business is in its infancy or when you sole proprietor, you the one that's really running everything. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody book you for a cut, they can't pull up in your assistant blader. No. That ain't how it work. You know what I'm saying? that's
I don't work, I don't eat.
And you feel me? Like so like same for me. Like I can book somebody to do a pod for me, and that's why I like this business because it's one that stands potentially to give me some freedom compared to everything else I do. But if somebody wants me to host, I can't send somebody in my place. If somebody wants me to do art, one of the homies can't draw it for me. I have to do that. Exactly. It's different. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't have, a lot of us don't get that luxury to be like, somebody else go in my place and stand in. And that's, it's definitely a difference. It's a give and a take for sure. But it's like, we have to do the work though, to be able to get where we got to go. Sometimes things are going to get missed. I mean, it's unavoidable. Cause at the end of the day, it's like, we got our goals in mind and you only get to do this one time. We would like, everybody I'm sure would like for it to be able to be 100% exactly how you want it to be so you can be there for this person, for that person, this event, this family function, whatever the case may be. Because when I decided not to go back to work, my immediate thought was I'm going to be able to spend more time with my daughter. And at first it was like that. But as things have grown and got more hectic and it's more action, it's more responsibility on my shoulders, that has also changed. And it almost feel like how it was when I had the regular job.
Right,
And you don't just get to turn it off. Because, we talk. All the time.
We talk all the time. Right.
It ain't no after 5 o'clock don't call me. If you got a podcast question, you hit me up and we done talked at 9, 10, 11 o'clock. So it just be happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think one of the things about being an entrepreneur that I oftentimes come across, people assume that you're an entrepreneur anyway. So and I know you can be a workaholic without being an entrepreneur, and I'm gonna clarify that in a second. But people assume that you can make your own schedule. And I say, no, your schedule is really designed by your customer base. Yeah. Now, when you get more like you build your business and your brand up some, you can kind of have more influence over that. But your what you do is still going to be influenced by the availability of clients. So if I
Facts.
say I'm not going to work, but banker's hours, well, a lot of people not going to get therapy sessions.
Yeah.
If I said I'm like,
You right. You gonna make yourself broke until you are in such high demand that you can say these are the only hours, and then you force those potential clients to have to adjust their schedule to work for you. Until you at that point,
yeah,
it's
and
the
the reality
opposite.
of that is there's always gonna be some people that's gonna have to cancel or whatever. So you have to look at stuff like that. So we have to understand that. But one of the key things about being a workaholic is that it is a way to avoid dealing with feelings and emotions. And in fact, in psychoanalytic theory, sublimation is one of those psychoanalytic defense mechanisms that are seen to be more adaptive, because it allows you to go and work and take care of things and take care of your business. And it assumes on some level that you're not really doing anything to harm yourself. But unfortunately, in a way you do, because when you're not dealing with what you feel, what happens is later those emotions that's related to whatever is going on that's motivating you to work a whole lot is going to come out anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, being a workaholic definitely gives you that chance to avoid things for sure. Because I know with me, in my past, if I was like, me and whoever my, person was, wherever woman I was dating at the time, if we was in like a heated exchange for a couple days, I'm just gonna book my flight a couple days early. I gotta go. Like, well, I thought you was leaving on Friday. Yeah, well, Kev need me out here on Wednesday. I'm gone. Cause I knew I could just escape that, go on the road for a little bit, and then maybe when I come back, it won't be as bad. So definitely being a workaholic definitely has its, times where you just avoid things because you have that luxury. You know what I'm saying? You like, I want to talk to you. Oh, man, they just booked me for a house. I got to go. Wait a minute. I thought, you down the street. I'm gone. I'm already at the venue. I can't get time to talk. Yeah. So it does have that. So you got to, I know I try to be better now to not let that get in the way of having that dialogue conversation with whoever the person is, to be like, okay, I know I can use my work as an excuse, or maybe even, I'm going to be transparent here, even lie and be like, I got a Zoom call. I don't got no Zoom call at 7. I just don't want to talk to you. Right. So that's another thing about being a workaholic or creating a schedule, whatever it is, that you could throw that out there. Man, I got another call coming in. I got to answer it. I got to go. So, I mean, it's got its cons if you use it to, manipulation, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes you got to, bro, because, on occasion you get that call from the homie and he don't want nothing, bro. And it's just like, hey, man, dog, I got so many shows to edit, but I got to get off this phone. Because when I tell you, one of the homies called me, bro, one time he like, bro, check this out. Got an idea. You ain't even got to pay me for it. Check this out, right? Kobe died. Nipsey died. Draw him on one picture. Put LA in the background. That's crazy, right? Yeah. Dog, get off my phone. And it take them 20 minutes to describe it and break it down in grand detail. And it's like, dog, this... okay, thanks, bro. I got so much to do. So when he called, him specifically, you know what I'm saying? He just one of them people. When he called me, it's like, I'm going to answer it and just make sure everything cool. But right after, I got something to do. You know what I'm saying? You get 6 hot minutes. And then I'm so busy, bro. And it's always like, oh, you know what? It's 7:25. I got a 7:30, dog. I gotta get
or
off.
I don't even know if I should be saying this, but I got a work phone. So sometimes I call my work. I use the work phone to call the main line. Boop, man. All right, let me grab this. Let me call you back. And switch it over, because you got to try to get off the phone some type of way, and I use it to my advantage sometimes.
Bro.
Yeah,
sometimes you got to do it.
I feel bad for y'all, because I know most of the time I can't answer my phone because I'm actually talking to somebody, dealing with somebody, so I can't even answer my phone like that. I'm frequently listening to messages. But moving on from that, y'all are y'all familiar with stonewalling?
I've heard this term a million times.
Okay, so stonewalling is where when somebody is communicating with us and we don't want to deal with what's being expressed.
So we ain't giving them nothing.
We don't give them nothing. We just kind of give them the blank. And men are more likely to do this than women. Stonewall. You know, we don't have answers. We don't know where things are going. We feel like, you know, people just, you know, in their emotions or feelings, we just shut down and not answer. Unfortunately, what that does is that just rev people up and make them more inquisitive and want to know more and push more because you stonewalling.
Yeah, I've had moments like that where it's like I give the conversation like zero energy, and then it revs that person up even more to be like, "Are you hearing me? Like, do you hear what I'm saying right now? Like, I'm emotional about this. I'm upset." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, you know, it's gonna be all right." You know what I'm saying? It just keep it real calm. Yeah. So, in that regard, it makes those people feel like I'm not concerned with them, or I don't care what their true feelings are. You know, so. I don't know. I don't think that really works in my favor when I do that.
Yeah, that's tough because sometimes it's hard. It's hard to not be that if that's who you just naturally are. Like I just don't be worried about stuff very often. You know what I mean? And so when people do come to me and they be like panicky and ultra concerned about stuff, I don't want nobody to feel like I'm trying to like dismiss their feelings. But I don't know. I think especially in them areas where I have a lot of experience or I really know and I'm like confident, I'm cool. It's hard to get somebody else to feel that. And instead they feel like I'm like, you know, shutting them out. And it's like, no, it's like that you like here. And it's like, it's this thing is here. Like we got it. We good. We under control. And that'd be tough.
It helps me to guard my emotions though, to not get all over the place. Cause like, I just think like a lot of times, like my peoples might call me emotional about what they seeing on the news or some politics or something like that. Mad about Donald Trump, like 9 times out of 10. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, man, I'm not about to go there. I'm not about to allow them to take me on this roller coaster ride with them. So I gotta just go all the way zero on 18. You know what I'm saying? Just to guard my mental space.
Right.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing to
Well, I think stonewalling can be a good thing in some incidents. I think if we just use it too much, I think that's when it becomes a problem, especially if you're trying to solve a problem or issue with a significant other, wife, relationships, friends, and you just always don't set
you
down.
You can
almost
almost become numb to people at a point where it's like, I'm not giving you nothing.
Exactly. So you want to find yourself doing that.
Yeah, you don't want people to feel completely shut out.
So let's move on. How do you think sex can be used as a way to avoid emotions, feelings?
Very simple. Put the whammy on her. When she go to sleep, now you get to go ahead and keep maneuvering, and y'all, that conversation is avoided. You know she's snoring, you on 2K. You know what I'm saying? Like
I guess you get the point. You get the point. So sex is one of those things we use like a defense mechanism on some level to like avoid dealing with what we feel, you know, in different situations. So like you said, hey, you get on 2K, you do your thing with your girl, and you do your thing, but the idea in that situation is you avoiding your feelings, and you can be avoiding hers too. I see that, but yeah,
I can see that. You know, just using sex as it's really like a what is it? Endorphin, lifter. So it's just kind of like you get that euphoric high. And then you can use that to avoid whatever maybe tough conversation. Maybe you really should maybe in that moment be talking about how y'all 5 months late on your credit bill or whatever that is.
Right,
but, you know, to avoid whatever tough conversation that you might be having, just jump into that sex mode because, that's just going to instantly shift the gears.
Right, exactly.
So I can see how sex could be used as an avoider.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. What about addiction? So you don't get to say sex. Yeah, addiction.
Sex could be an addiction too.
But thinking about addiction, we think about alcohol, we think about substances, marijuana, cocaine, fentanyl, and we just still having this unfortunate reality with fentanyl and how it's like killing over 100,000 people a year, it feels like right now, and but the addiction. Look, maybe some people might say they come home and they get their 40, or they come home and they get their weed, they smoking it every day, helps them to feel better. I think we kind of talked about this a little bit, or whatever other drug of choice they may have.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
I ain't gonna lie. Well, no, I'm not gonna say I ain't got nothing, but like I don't got like none of the typical like that we would like talk about in this situation. Like I got like one that's unintentional that like half the world got caffeine. You know what I'm saying? And that's mostly because of entrepreneurship. I don't sleep enough. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get up in the morning. And I just might grab me an energy drink. But that's gonna be as far as I have ever gotten with addiction. Yeah. Partially because I'm a hoe. You know what I'm saying? Like I am a hoe. I'm scared to get addicted to that crazy shit that y'all be on. Y'all be doing weird stuff. And I am a chump. I'm not willing to take the risk. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you want to hit the weed? I'm horrified, bro. No, because I feel like I'm gonna do it, and then we all gonna kick the bucket, and they gonna find us in this random location where we at. Nope, I don't want to be the one. So no, I've literally always said no out of fear of something going terribly wrong, or the outsiders, Pony Boy, they was doing acid, LSD, breaking their brains. I don't want that. No, and I know people that be like, yeah, we was dropping acid, and it's like, y'all were doing what, bro? Like, that is horrifying to me, bro. So no, like my addiction is caffeine and probably sugar. I eat too much junk food, but I'm good now.
We can be addicted to food too. Yeah.
Definitely can be, you know what I'm saying? But outside of that, no, addiction is, I've never understood it. I've never understood it because ultimately, at the end of the day, with the exception of the temporary withdrawals and headaches you're going to get, I feel like I could get off the caffeine and be all right. Like sugar, okay, I can just chill. Like, that's okay. But, like, the stuff that everybody else be on, especially in the entertainment world, the things I see behind the scenes, the events, the parties, and how everybody else party, it ain't for me, bro. Yeah. I'll never understand it. Like, it ain't nothing that I'm trying to escape that bad.
So I would take it outside of drugs. That back in 2020, I was actually addicted to. I had really, really, really bad runner's high. So I started therapy in 21. So in 20 was when I was experiencing all this anxiety. I was running like 120 miles a month. So y'all just divvy that up. I'm running multiple times a day, 7 in the morning, 7 at night. Like I'm beating my body up essentially though. But I'm so addicted to that escape and I have so bad runner's high that I had to realize like I can't run my body into the ground and I can't run away from my problems. Literally and figuratively, because obviously I was outside running. But that was a bad addiction for me. Because anytime I would like get into it with somebody, headphones in, run. I would feel that anxiety, run. I would just be like, yo, I need to go run outside. I need to go find a path. I need to go do this. And I just remember my body being so broken down. Running. You know what I'm saying? At the end of that 2020, going into 21, I mean, my knees, my feet, everything, but I was just abusing my body at that time.
Stop wearing those Nikes.
No, really though.
Nikes, terrible running shoes.
So, I'm running in some Invisible Inks right now. They Nikes. I love them. But
you gotta get the right ones.
I was so addicted to that. So outside of a drug, which is still a drug essentially.
Right. Exactly. You was running 5 marathons a month.
Yeah, I was running like
Who does that?
Averaging like 110, 120 miles a month.
Oh, 110. I think you said 125.
No, 100, like a month though. I'm going 5, 6, 7 in the morning. Then I'm going home and I'm going 5, 6, 7 again later on that day consecutively. Like I wasn't taking days. I was running Sunday to Sunday.
Oh, for real?
But that was the addiction to try to escape from whatever I was going through. And essentially I was just beating my body down. And fast forward time, 2 years later, I tore my Achilles. I'm not saying that was the reason why, but who really knows the
correlation?
The correlation. So that was an addiction for me outside of just like most people would say like drugs. You can be addicted to something like that.
That's crazy. The obese community about to turn that to a clip. Like, see? This is what happens.
But
McDonald's would never do this to you.
All right. I can say this briefly because you said the extreme, like you don't see how people have like addiction being a thing for them like that. You know, I am somebody who has realized that I have an addictive personality. So I've dealt with a lot of addictions. Thank God no hardcore drugs was ever a part of that, but dang near everything else under the gamut, good and bad. You know, I've had aspects where I've been addicted to working out. I've had aspects where I've been addicted to being a health nut. I've had aspects where I've been addicted to alcohol, cigarettes, porn, you know, sex, food, you know. So there's been a lot of things that I've had to deal with in my own mental space to know that, you know, I gotta have hard lines on things. And for me, I had to break addictions by a lot of times fasting from it, you know, fasting from everything to just to kind of break the addiction aspect in me. But I would say cigarettes was probably the toughest addiction that I had that had a stronghold on me for a minute. And it was wild because I went from just one of my many hustles that I did in the time frame. I used to promote for this cigarette company, and I used to, you know, give out free packs of cigarettes. Lo and behold, I ended up getting hooked to the same things that I was passing out for free in promotion. And it got to the point where past the time frame that I worked for this company and I was getting them for free, now I'm going to the gas station paying down there $10 a pack, you know, for cigarettes, man. And I'm in a barbershop space, so I'm sharing these cigarettes with people, so I'm going through it even faster, you know, and that turned into a whole crazy thing, you know, between me and my wife because she hated the fact that I was smoking cigarettes. So I had to hide the addiction. And, you know, I'm brushing my teeth before I go home, putting mouthwash in my mouth and doing all these, spraying all types of colognes, just trying to make sure I cover up the smell. And it got to a point where I didn't even enjoy doing it as much. It was just something that became habit. And it was something that was just something. So like I said, I'm a creature of habit. So I just had to shift what my habits were. But yeah, addiction has definitely been something that, you know, like right now I'm addicted to you know, fish. You know what I'm saying? As far as my food consumption. You know, because I don't eat meat anymore. So I like different types of fish and, you know, chasing this pescatarian lifestyle. But, you know, I'm knee deep into it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm staying on that path because I feel like that's the healthier way for me. But I can definitely empathize with anybody who has addictions, you know, as something that they battle with because, you know, it could just be a thing of, you know, just changing your habit form.
Yeah, and we can be addicted, like, yeah, we can also be addicted to things like, you know, money and obviously, you know, winning. We can be so addicted to it, that rush we get from it that, you know, we do anything for it. And I think one of the things about addictions, it's key, is when you'll find yourself doing just about anything to have that thing that you need to have or want to have. Man, you stand out in the cold, freezing cold, be 10 degrees outside. You be out there for just
You know it's bad.
freezing, like,
you know it's bad.
It's bad. You can't stop smoking marijuana long enough to pass a drug test. You know, you know it's bad. You can't sit down on Sunday morning without your 40 or whatever it is. You know it's bad. You can be broke. I remember one time I was talking to a brother who was talking about how he didn't have the money to get some stuff he needed for his family. I was like, bro, man, you cut back on your substance money a little bit. That'll probably take care of that.
Or addicted to playing the lottery too.
Yeah, people get addicted to playing the lottery and stuff like that. So, you know, there's all these different things we can get addicted to, and it can keep us from doing the things we need to do. But one more, man. What about violence, man? So as a way to avoid dealing with our emotions.
I know people who have had that challenge, you know, where instead of having a conversation and really being able to deal with whatever the issue is at hand, them immediately jump into a physical type thing because it's, you know, for some people the only way that they know how to, like you said, be a winner in something, if they feel like they can dominate over another person in something. So, you know, being an overly violent person has never really been my challenge, but I know people who have dealt with that and feel like, you know, what Harpo said, like I've been fighting all my life. Like they feel like they got to be the fighter all the time. You know,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all,
I'm about to say that ain't. I don't know. That's not a thing.
Okay.
For me. Maybe like you know, like in like domestic situations.
no, I was going to go there, but yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, from that perspective, I feel like that probably was a lot of what that is. I would say the majority of what led to my parents divorcing. You know, because there wouldn't be conversations. It'd be either an argument or a physical fist fight automatically. Like every time something was, you know, going on, and you know, sometimes it was my father started, sometimes it was my mother started. You know, but my father would be the one to take it physical, and that's like that was always crazy to me, and was always why that was like a thing for me to never have that in my household. That's something I know had an impact on me going well into you know, my adult years and my relationships. Like honestly, I don't even like yelling. Like I don't yell at all. It takes something really, really over the top to even get me to raise my voice for real.
Right,
and when
right.
other people around me do, it makes to this day it still makes me uncomfortable.
Right.
I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? And partially because of what I've been through, but also partially because I like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I know that there's another way.
Okay.
So yeah. I think people very often, especially as men, will very often just resort to just going straight to the physical because whatever it is that's internal, they don't have enough control over it to not let it manifest that way or to express what it is that they experiencing to just go and take it there. And,
Gotcha.
That's super whack.
You want to say anything, Reese?
No.
Now, you know, I want to say that, you know, violence happens in aggression. So there's anger and then there's aggression. But aggression can happen in several different ways. Number one, you can have verbal aggression. So the words we use, which is by far one of the most devastating forms of abuse because it can happen so much and so often that we oftentimes just take it for granted. But it's like, because it messes people's self-esteem so much, what people say. And then, of course, we have the physical violence. Now, we have violence because we avoid feelings, but feelings are oftentimes like depression or anxiety or loneliness or hurt. We have those feelings, and when those feelings are not addressed, then they stew into anger. So think of like a volcano and these emotions underneath. And as these emotions percolate, they get hot, they start shaking, and then they start bursting out. But that's the anger coming out. And then so that when it comes out, when we get the verbal aggression or we get the physical aggression, there is a release of tension that, in a sense, initially might make us feel better. However, there's consequences. Like when you say something really mean to somebody, you can't take it back. But you said it, you put it out in the world, but you might feel relief. That might be a anger payoff because it's a release. But then the other end, it creates consequences or tears down relationships because people remember words.
Yep. Right.
Or if you become physically violent, then you might destroy something, cost financially. You might hurt someone, you know, might end up in jail or whatever, you know, just for even going back to verbal, making a threat. These things can happen. So I think it's important for us to be aware of our feelings and emotions so we don't have to become violent. But when those things are not checked, like we said before, we either implode or explode and boom. And so that also goes to like sexual abuse. You know, a lot of people engage in sexual abuse, which is another form of violence. And it's just some needs on a deeper emotional level not being addressed. And that's why I think it's important for people to get in therapy and talk to someone and just have what we call the emotional checkup where you can talk about your feelings. I used to do a group with some young boys at Cleveland Christian Home, and when we started the meeting, I would always have them do emotional check-ins, and we just talk about their feelings and why they feel that way, trying to help them become more and contact with their feelings, but also when people are more aware of their own feelings, they can be more empathetic towards other people and what they feel. So anyway, guys, y'all got any last thoughts, opinions, ideas before we close this one out?
Nah, man, if you need to see somebody, we will absolutely drop some resources down in the description of the episode because this guy knows people. If it ain't him, it's somebody he know and somebody they know. So we'll definitely get you some help. Make sure that you tapping in. Your mental health is important. You are important. That is all that I got to say. Outside of that, Beard Gang.
Well, I believe that's all, folks. Nah, y'all have a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe us, leave your comments in the drop-down box, and see you for our next episode of Therapy is Life, for thinking, feeling, and experiencing well-being is what we do. Talk to you soon.